everyone, we're doing another Moderator Monday, and today's my day to share with y'all my Master Books journey. I'm Amanda, and I live in Texas with my family. I have a 10-year-old daughter and a 7.5-year-old son. Hi. He's very proud of his half year. And we have been using Master Books exclusively for 2 years, but it took us a while to get to that point, and that's what I'm going to talk with y'all about today. I have my cheat notes over here, so when I'm glancing over, y'all know what I'm doing. When I first started to write out my story, I was going to tell y'all that our journey started about 5 years ago, but as I was looking over our Master Books bookcase, which is behind me, I realized that the New Leaf Publishing Group actually came into my life a lot longer ago than that. Not too long ago, because I'm not that old. But anyway, I realized that it really began about 30 years ago when a missionary came to our church and my parents purchased one of his books. And it's something that has always been a part of my life. And I remember my parents reading it and having it all those years, and now I have it. And 25 years ago, when I was looking over my books, I realized that they actually played a really big part in my life at a very young age, around 10, when I found this book, which they no longer publish, but it's great if y'all can find it. And I bought it at a Christian bookstore. Hi, friends. And it answered a lot of questions that I was already thinking about and trying to talk to other people, teachers and stuff, about trying to wrap my mind around dinosaurs and the Bible and the age of the earth. And I had so many questions and no answers. And this book was a huge help in affirming things that I was already thinking. And it just set me up on a really good path. But then really, Master Books really came into play big time about 5 years ago, when my husband and I were at a homeschool convention, and we were brand new to homeschooling and overwhelmed and not really knowing what we were doing, and we didn't have a really big homeschool support group here where we live. And yay, another moderator dog barking. Anyway, throws me off. Sorry, guys. Anyway, so we were at a homeschool convention, and we had already purchased a all-in-one pre-K curriculum. Our daughter was 4 at the time. And we liked it. It was good. I really loved the layout of the lesson plans, and it was Christian, and so it was okay. But we were walking around looking at what else was available because we were new and didn't know. And we did find the Master Books table, and we loved the books, but there wasn't really a whole lot for little kids at that time, and I didn't really know about them. And even though I did, I didn't realize I did. But anyway, so we looked, we bought a few things for ourselves, and we kept on going. But when we were there, we did buy a bundle they had. It was the Indoctrination DVD. Ooh, which direction? And book. My book's actually on loan right now. And it was a game changer for us. If we hadn't already committed to homeschooling, that would have done it. And it really affected my husband in a great way, and hopefully one day he can share more about that, but that's his story to tell. So let's move forward a year, and we're back at the homeschool convention again, and my children, and again we find ourselves drawn to the Master Books booth because we loved their books. We already knew that because we had bought some the year before, but I still just couldn't make myself commit, and was just having a hard time making that step. And so at this event, they actually screened a DVD called Evolution versus God, and they gave a copy out to the people that came and watched the screening. And I loved it, and I really loved their books, so we went and bought more books for the two of us, but again decided to stay with what we knew, what was familiar. And that's really what my journey kind of is about, is breaking away from the familiar, what's known, what you're comfortable with. All I knew growing up was public school. I did go to private school for 2 years, but even then, I remember telling my parents that it wasn't different. Besides the fact that we had chapel and learned Bible verses, it wasn't that much different from public school as far as how we were educated. My husband was always in public school, and he is actually a public school teacher, and he has an early childhood degree, and so he spent several years in kindergarten and first grade and pre-K. Now he's out of the classroom, but that's what the bulk of his career has been so far. And so that's what we knew, especially when our daughter was little, because that's what he was teaching at the time. And so we were trying to do more of what we knew. Because it's all we knew, we tried to make our homeschool look like what we knew and the familiar. But unfortunately, that wasn't working. And so my daughter and I were often frustrated, and there was lots of tears. And our Christian our Christian homeschool that I wanted to have and to cultivate, it wasn't looking very Christian because I was frustrated all the time, and it made me feel discouraged and feel like I was failing. So the next year I knew something had to change because we knew that we were called to homeschool. That's never not been an option. We really feel called to this. But I knew what we were doing wasn't working, so we needed change. And so I decided to take a year and kind of piece things together, and just hopefully that would give us a chance to come up for air and to breathe, because I really felt like I was drowning at that point. So in piecing our curriculum, I guess, together, I finally bought something from Master Books. My kids love animals, and so I bought the World of Animals set that they used to carry. This was actually from Answers in Genesis, but Master Books carried it, and it is what they actually turned into the God's Design Life set. It's still, this side. It's still a part of it. It just used to be 3 separate books, and Master Books combined it into one and made it a lot easier to handle, and added some of their things like the lesson plans to it. But back then, this is what was available, and so I got it because my kids love animals, and they absolutely loved it. It was probably the best part about our day. It's the part that brought us the most joy. The kids loved it. And it was easy to customize for our family. And so I really appreciated that, because at that time the kids were, let me see, how old are y'all now? So about 7 or 8 and maybe 5. So it was great because I was able to do it with both of the kids, and they had fun. And it was just a really joyful and beautiful experience. And I loved that every lesson in it pointed to God as the creator and the designer of all things, and shared his character. And I could just tell that there was something really different and special about it. So we took that year to learn more about my kids' learning style and my teaching style. And we quickly discovered that year that math was a sore spot. The math we were using was not a good fit for my daughter, and we were still having lots of frustration and tears, and I needed another change. And sorry, y'all, my son, he's a trip. No, you're fine, baby. Anyway, like I said, the science that we had gotten from Master Books was the best part about our day. So we decided it was time to take a closer look at what Master Books offered, and see what else they had that would work for our family. So imagine our delight and really joy when we found out that their curriculum was constantly expanding, and they had so much more to offer at this time. So we're back at the convention again, and at this point in time, 2-3 years ago, they had like little bundles, sets that you could get. So we got the 3rd grade set, and I added a 2nd grade math book to it to use for my daughter, hoping to fill in any gaps and to cultivate a love of learning for her, because I've struggled with math my whole life, and I really don't want that for her. I want her to enjoy it. And so we decided to backtrack a little bit to help bring that love of learning back to her. And for my son, we got basic language skills and math lessons for living education 1 for him. And I wish that I could tell you that that year went perfect, because we love Master Books, and we do love Master Books, but everything was not perfect, and we didn't homeschool happily ever after, mainly because, I wish y'all could see my kid, mainly because the truth is that I'm a sinner, and I'm saved by grace through faith, and I'm raising 2 kids who are also battling with flesh issues. And so our homeschool does not look lovely every day. But what I can say is that our homeschool is more joyful. We don't necessarily have the frustration and tears like we used to. If y'all saw my last video, you know, we still have tears because somebody really likes this math book, but they're tears of joy, and we do have fun. And my husband and I love the biblical worldview that our children are getting from this curriculum. And I love the Charlotte Mason feel that it has, because we read together on the couch and I get snuggles. And I know that this phase in life isn't going to last forever. And so I'm just treasuring it while I can. I finally have learned to break away from the familiar, learning to make the curriculum work for me and my family and not be a slave to it. That was really hard for me because I say I like routine and structure, but that's not entirely true either. I tend to be a rebel. But it's been a great fit for our family. And so what does making it fit our family look like? It means maybe changing a recipe in our geography course, or changing up the activity or project or crafts to suit your family. And I love that it's easy to adapt, and that's part of what has helped make it less frustrating for me. In our family, we have food allergies and a picky eater and an aversion to baking and crafts. That would be me.
What does aversion mean?
It means you don't like to do it. And I'm a mom who tends to kind of just wing it and go day by day and not really plan things. And so when it's time to do an activity and we don't have all the things we need because I didn't plan ahead, it's easy to adapt. And I love that. That's probably my favorite thing about this curriculum, is that it's so easy to make fit your family. And however your family works, it'll work for you. Because God is woven all throughout the curriculum, we seize opportunities to put our school books down and pick up the Bible. And when we're learning about something, I can point to scripture and show them where it's at. And we have more discipleship opportunities. And I really treasure that as well. The support in this group, the Moms of Master Books group, is unlike anything I've ever seen. The videos that Randy and Kristen do and the other moderators, and then the interaction with the authors, is absolutely amazing. And I love all the questions that we get from the moms and how other moms jump in to help each other out. This group is one of the best things about the curriculum, and I love our Master Books family. This is our second year going all in with Master Books, and I wish I hadn't waited so long, and I can't imagine doing anything else at this point because this is really working for our family. Master Books' mission statement is ink on paper to touch eternity, and I definitely see that happening in our home, and I'm very grateful for that. And I did it. So that's my story, and I thank y'all for joining, and I hope that you all have a very blessed day and a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.